the Heritage Foundation, a right-wing think tank, have filed an appeal against the Department of Homeland Security, and they want access to see what Harry actually wrote on his application for a visa. They want to see whether he actually declared his drug use that he admitted to in his own memoir. And even though they are a right-wing think tank, that sort of puts some people off because they think it's a political issue. And as we know in the USA, everything's a political issue. It doesn't take much to get them fired up. But I don't think that it matters that it's a right-wing think tank. I think the issue is sound, that they're seeking transparency. And they're seeking to just illustrate the point that if he didn't do the right thing, then why is he receiving favourable treatment, which I think is perfectly valid, and it's a good thing to pursue, and transparency is nothing to be afraid of ever. So having said that, I did think of one thing that might actually help the Heritage Foundation's case, because laughing gas in Harry's memoir, I made a funny video about it because it was related to the rather strange birth stories in his book. And so I made a funny video, if you want to check it out, that's a little plug, about the laughing gas. But this is a little bit more serious. Now, when I made that video, a lot of nurses commented in the comments down below, and they said that could never happen in the UK because, for a start, the nitrous oxide is out of the wall, not in canisters. And Harry described, that it was a canister, and they're saying, well, no, it's through a hose, it's modern times through all. They also said that a nurse wouldn't laugh it off and that they would have to sign off on the fact that that had all disappeared. And, they just didn't believe the story. They thought it was very, very far-fetched. Well, I looked into that. Now, if it was a big hospital, highly likely it would be in the wall, but evidently some smaller private clinics do still have the canisters of laughing gas. So that's interesting because that could give an indication where actually some of this activity really took place, because we just have to look at whether the laughing gas is provided in canisters or in the wall, just a suggestion, if you're a bit of a detective. But aside from that, like I said, there is a more serious aspect to this, and that is that people do use laughing gas as an illegal drug, as an illegal substance. And a few days ago, there was an article in the UK, and it was this, okay, and it was in the Times, and it was the health correspondent. Teenagers suffering nerve damage from laughing gas. Teenagers and young adults are attending hospital with nerve damage after abusing laughing gas, doctors have warned. They examined 119 patients and they found that they'd developed nerve damage affecting the spinal cord and limbs. Excuse me. The patients were treated at 3 hospitals in London, Manchester and Birmingham, and they were using large quantities of nitrous oxide or laughing gas. Most of the patients were regular users, and the average age was between 14 and 22. So, few points about that. That's incredibly tragic. It's a real problem. It's a drug abuse problem in the UK. And Harry writes about it in his book in such an irresponsible manner because he's laughing it off and acting like it's funny and harmless. And you can get nerve damage, permanent nerve damage to your spine, to your limbs. A young boy of 14 or young girl of 14 could be permanently disabled. And he's laughing it up in his book and treating it like it's just a joke, like breathing in like helium, when you do that, make your voice go high. And he's treating it lightheartedly like that. So it's incredibly irresponsible. And it also made me wonder that seeing nurses have sort of brought up the point that they don't think it could have really happened in any sort of main hospital in the UK. Makes me think, did he get experience with this particular drug at an earlier date or at an earlier time or in some other capacity? Because he seems to know all about it, and yet it seems to be not plausible that it could have happened during the birth story. So I just found that interesting. So there you go, Heritage Foundation. If you do manage to get hold of his form that he was filling out in order to get a visa and entry to the USA, maybe you can add laughing gas to one of the drugs he did or didn't declare. I'll see you all again really soon. Bye.